Hello again and welcome to PoisoNoisE. Today we will talk about three different bands and records. I think I will start with a metal one called Kick 'em When They're Down by Znöwhite. This band is not so unknown actually because if you're a metal and especially thrash metal, speed metal fanatic, this is a name you certainly have heard of. But I think it's somehow a band that never got enough recognition. They got a handful of demos and EPs, and then last and first record called Act of God at the end of the 80s, and they somehow never got to make it because I think they kind of released this album too late, and the ugly face of death metal was already starting to show, and the bigger thrash metal bands were starting to fade. And then bad timing for Znöwhite. The band split up, and some of the members went to form another thrash metal band more in the vein of Testament called Cyclone Temple. And this is very good technical thrash metal. That's back to Znöwhite and especially Kick 'em When They're Down. This is a great record. This is an EP, which is pretty short, but everything has been composed by Ian Tafoya, known also as Greg Fulton. That's his real name. He uses an alias on this record, but he recorded this EP with his brother on the drums and Nicole Lee, who was singing actually. She has a very strong kind of vocal. If you already like stuff like Sentinel Beast, by the way, Debbie Gunn, who was singing with Sentinel Beast, used also to be part of Znöwhite for a short time. And if you like stuff like Détente, for instance, Don Crosby. These are the kind of vocals you might find with Znöwhite. And the music, the band coming from Chicago, it's not so surprising that it could remind you of Z-Trop, which is also another pioneer of speed thrash metal from this area. This is a very good recommendation I have for you if you still haven't listened to it. Moreover, and this is a selling point on my record, it has been actually produced by Paul Curcio. He used to produce Kill 'Em All by Metallica and the early stuff by Metallica, and he has not worked with so many metal bands in the end. It was Metallica, of course, then Hades from New York, and Znöwhite. So that's pretty much everything he did concerning the metal world, and that's why you can find somehow the dynamics of Kill 'Em All, this very special grain with the guitar sound and the full-blown energy of the music. You can find in the production of Znöwhite as well. I strongly recommend you to give it a listen or give it a new spin if you haven't already. Well, let's go now back in time with a band from 1970. This is a first record, and yeah, I'm sorry, this is very shiny, and yeah, you can say a bit techy. This is a cheap version I found lately of an album I already liked a lot. It's called Beggars Opera. It's coming from Scotland, and actually, this is the first album. The band was known for mixing classical elements of music, like opera and classic music, plus rock, early hard rock or prog rock. If you're already into, I don't know, the way Deep Purple was used to mix, especially with the keyboard, those classical music parts with rock, I think you would dig Beggars Opera. This is a band that was active in the 70s up to 75, something like that, and they split up the first time, and they should have remained silent because they reformed in the early 80s, and they released a pile of shit they dared to call an album. They were completely out of track, and those classical 70s band they were cool in the 70s, and bam, here comes the 80s, and they start to be into production and modern sounding shit, and they just sound like the worst pile of shit ever, which is a shame because the three first records of this band are totally amazing. There is a lot of room made for music. The singer is pretty good actually, but you don't hear him so often actually. It's more of a musical based project. But Beggars Opera is a name you should remember and check out if you haven't already. And now something completely different, coming from United Kingdom, is a band that called Retsu. It's their first album. They only have a demo prior to this. It's from 2024, so it's quite new. There are bands from the band members from the Masochists, from Doom, from Extinction of Mankind. So you get the point. Black and white cover, short name, cut and paste kind of artwork. Yes, this is punkish, crust, D-beat kind of stuff. But still, of course, you have the usual D-beat approach that you should be familiar with if you follow me now. And actually, this band is just amazing. Listen to the vocals. The singer, she is just impressive. This is raw. This is like broken glass forced into your ears. It's just plain amazing. So, knowing that the members are mostly involved in other bands, I am not sure about the status of Retsu. I see that they have toured a little bit, but I'm not sure if they will go on with recordings and more touring in the future. But still, if you can put your hands on this, this is priceless D-beat with such a raw and aggressive sound and vocals. I just fell in love with it and was very lucky to get it for a very cheap price recently. So this is it for today. Peace out, and till next time.